Hi, yeah, it's Saviour. Welcome to my bonsai retreat. It's quite late. I've been back for about an hour and a half from Savin Nursery now. Their generosity blew my mind. Hopefully you really enjoyed the vibe from the first video, and I sort of guessed it was going to be two parts because we've got the olive, we've got the maple. We're going to be talking about those more. In fact, we're going to talk about more of the problems I encountered with that maple, and in particular with a branch that's right back here, and why I very nearly didn't buy it. But more of that in the video. We are going to look later on what exactly I'm going to do with them now. It's first week in December. It is starting to get colder. Do I do nothing? Do I put them down the bottom of the garden? Or do I get my shears out? We'll find out that in a minute. But we're also going to hear from, I don't know whether I can call her great-grandma Savin Nursery, but she's the one who's been caring for bonsais for probably 30 years. She's the font of all wisdom. She refused to be photographed. Yet, she did have words of wisdom. We're going to see those two when she talks about an absolutely exquisite premium azalea. Two flower colours, and sneak peek, there's the azalea in flower. I'm desperate. I really want that. On top of that, I'm going to be taking you a tour through the bonsai that they had there. And, you know, they still had a lot of good trees. I think it's important you have a look and see what you can get for really, really low prices. And the reason I say that, it's starter points. This is where if you haven't got a lot of money and you're desperate to get into the hobby, this is the place to go. They've got the material and you're not going to break the bank. But on top of that, you're going to find out why that, what I thought was a great big jade, has been put to shame in an instant. Oh, and I must apologise for that blasted mic and my chain. Blame it on the chain. It kept tapping on the mic, and that's why you kept getting that tap. And I know some of you will be absolutely furious with that. I will promise that I will avoid that in the future. Anyway, it's going on too long. Let's go and finish off this great day and then find out whether I'm going to do anything at all to this olive. And you know what? Not only have I got the sun streaming in on my face, brightening me up like the sun, I've just found these crassulas. Look at the trunks on these. And I know many of you will say that's not bonsais have. But you know what? It is for some people. And if you're pretty well predominantly indoors, ideal. Look at the size of this thing. Great big trunk on it. And you want to guess the price? UK pounds 35. And I'll tell you what, knowing what they're like here, if you went in there with puppy dog eyes, they'd probably knock a little bit more off for you. Where else can you get stuff like this? Look at that, multi-trunks there. Do I need another crassula? Don't know. I think that's a bit big to be a bonsai. Looks good when it's got a full leaf though. And I do believe right here, we've got dogwood or cornice. I know a lot of people like to do bonsai with these. I've never actually tried myself. £10? What do you think of that? And again, with something like that, you're looking to see what branches you can remove that'll give you maximum movement, or indeed might create a clump. Because often you'll see this great mass of branches, and you're spending all your time thinking, oh, this will be wonderful. You've actually got to remove stuff in the end, and you've got to know where that line is that gives you the movement, gives you the taper. But what a choice you've got for 10 quid. And I'm not supposed, I tend to find that I'm now veering away from the smaller stuff at £10, but for an extra £10, you can get something that's certainly a lot bigger, and you've got an awful lot more options what you can do in here. And again, dig around, have a look and see whether indeed these trunks are actually one big base at the bottom, because potentially, you know, three great stumps coming out of there. Very, very interesting. So interesting. Again, price is just incredible. Really, really good value. And I'm not sure I'm going to be making bonsai from bamboo, but definitely pretty impressive. Grasses, all sorts over here. And needless to say, if you're after bedding plants, well, as I said earlier, It's bedding city here, absolutely bedding city. I tell you what, this place is absolutely impossible. I've only got my daughter's car, so I've got to be a little bit careful. And I find this bigger Cedrus deodara, and this one's £50. Bearing in mind what that other one was at, just for an extra couple of, well, an extra £10 by the look of it, you've got, wow, you've got a definite trunk in there, loads of foliage to show it's really, really healthy. That's a sort of bargain. And in fact, right beside it, the old Taxus baccata, yew. And again, a lot of this stuff close in, we're going to be removing a lot of the stuff that's in there, because what we actually want is the big fat trunk. So yeah, lots of potential. And how much is that? Probably, yeah, £30. If you think about what it is that you're paying, if you have a look and see if you've got the skills and abilities to do the initial styling on it, tell you what, give it a year or two for that sort of money, put it in a pot, you're going to be far outdoing anything that you can pay for in a proper bonsai, and you have the fun of making it yourself. That's how you save money, and that's how you enjoy this hobby more. You've also got things like the unanimous, I always call them the anonymous. Tend to think of them a bit like the iliacs or the box or stuff like that. Again, very, very cheap, and great way to start little forests, or indeed grow small trees. But absolute tons of stuff. Again, if you're finding stuff that's really cheap at the smaller scale, I'd spend a little bit more and upsize and try and double that trunk. Often, if you're looking at budget plants, if you can afford to do it, go to the upper end, the bigger tree, older tree, because that's where the real value comes. Twice the size, in fact 3 times the size, and £25. You could really make something out of that. Still haven't found any Fuji Cherry, but there's some more Taxus yew down here. Great big trunks on there, £30. I always find the yew more challenging. It's a slower growing tree, so I tend to want to be more careful and get a thicker trunk. Often with these, I've found at these sort of places, you're looking at the sort of twin trunk sort of approach. But yeah, some stuff there. Just when I was about to go out the door, there they are. The Prunus incisor or whatever. Pruna incisor, Kojo no Mai. The Fuji Cherry. I was looking for something a bit bigger, but definitely there are always so many interesting trunks. And the good thing about the Fuji, absolutely massive air layers. You can really get some good air layers off them. So let's have a look. I've got the Berberis behind me. I know people do bonsai with Berberis. I've never actually used it as one myself. All of these have multiple trunks coming out of the base. Makes them very, very interesting. Loads and loads of buds on them. I've got a few of them, but I really, really want something that's a bit bigger. How much are these? £15. Honestly. I'd say, I mean, if you literally cut the top off that, in February with all the flowers coming out, be a bonsai already. I don't think I'm going to find one, actually. I've got quite a lot of them from cuttings, and unless I can find something in a fat trunk, no, I think, there they are. Great value, great for bonsai, but in this instance, I'm not going to compromise and go for a smaller trunk. And what I really want, something a bit bigger. Oh well, can't have everything you want. So all I need to do is find my way out of this place. More yews. Goodness. £14. Nice clean trunks. smaller ones. Got one 3, 4, 5 in there for £10. Absolutely fantastic. I've done that myself. Got a few used that are part of the collection. Yeah, come on, let's go and have a look at some bonsai, shall we? So here we are, we're going to be looking around the bonsais now. We've got this beautiful, massive Chinese elm. Not sure I'm going to fit that in the car. In fact, the dog there's saying, no, you're not having it, Zav. And I'll have a little look around here and just see what we've got. Goodness, absolutely loads. Here the Buddhist pine. Do find this needs to, I think anything below 5 degrees and it can be a bit problematic. I've certainly found that. Nice trunk on that, £60. Ah, bougainvillea. I've never grown bougainvillea. Azalea. £14. That's pretty good value. Chinese elms here. Great big thick trunks there. Whole range of them here. Right down here we've got a little trident maple plum forest group. Probably about 15 to 20 sapling trees in there. Although the price of that, what's that, £300? You can make that. You really can. Just get yourself some trident maple cuttings and start. I think it's brilliant, you know. Yeah, if you don't want to actually make your own bonsai, then certainly there's a great selection here. And we've got much smaller trees. Place them now with the rock. I don't like the ones at the rock, because the rocks have basically been glued into the pot. So it sort of limits the amount of things you can do with it. But, you know, you've got these, well, they've labelled them as Zelkova, but we know that's Chinese elm. That's to get through the import. £10 for something like that. And again, if you decide you want to build a bigger one, all you need to do is let it grow. I think really the only thing I'd warn you about is that you'll get a lot of stuff that's, certainly with the Chinese elm stuff like this, it's heavily wired. It's been transported, and a lot of the time that wire will have been on there for quite some time. Do look in. That's the one thing I'd say. Make sure you have a good look in there and have a look and see if there's been any scarring or anything from the wire. Because again, when you're picking something, what you want to do is make sure is that it's as problem-free as you can make it. And also things like broken branches and stuff. You know, there's such a great selection here. Make sure you pick something you like. And again, you know, things like that. How much was that? I think it's £15. They seem to be going for this, these rocks put in there. I think that's cement. But something like that, £45. That's pretty good, actually, I think. I mean, just here, got some holly, Iliax holly there. Lovely red berries on them. Nice trunks on them. £50. That's nothing. Right here, look at these. Lovely little cascade pots. Really nice. Just £9. And again, when you're starting out, you can't afford the big, proper, expensive pots. Put something in that. You've picked up down from the nursery end. You put a bit of wire on it. Absolutely fantastic. Pyracantha, ideal. Got this larch forest planting. I think it's the it's the pseudo-larix. So it's not quite the traditional larch, but yeah, really interesting. Really nice. Again, another holly here. Little ficus. Loads of little pots around. And finally, you've always got to have a pot for your bonsai, whether it be the good old-fashioned...
Yeah, we have a lot. That some of them, as I knew, just take that out of the box.
Yeah.
Just some of them a bit older one.
A lot of people quite like the old sort of transport pots.
Yeah.
And they're cheap as chips, to be honest, but
you know,
so many...
More get it bit dirty one.
Yeah.
And had in there brown.
Yeah. But
really almost in class.
I know. But these are, I mean, these are commercially produced.
Yeah.
But again, it's just trying to say to people that they don't have to spend 80, 90, 100, 200 pounds on a pot.
Yeah.
Get yourself something decent here. I mean, the value's between 20 pounds, 15 pounds. Brilliant. I mean, I tell you what, that's it. And there's another thing. When you come to Savin Nursery, you can sit there and get a plant that you're going to produce and grow as a tree yourself, or you can come here, buy a bonsai that's already ready. You can get your pots. There's some potting mixers. Do you know what?
Yeah.
They've got everything here. I tell you, sometimes when you come, there's things that you just die for. And right here, we've got a magnificent azalea. It's got a massive base on it. And people say trees are really expensive. Well, do you know what? You pay for what you get. It's not expensive. It really isn't. Although I'm sure, some of you put in the comments what you think the price is, because I've already made a note that I really want to know if someone else wants to buy this, because I'm very, very interested. It has pink and white flowers. And to be fair, Darren, I'm looking for something that's going to compete with a Duchess. I think this will outdo it. That's a bonsai. That is really a bonsai. So I need to make sure that Daryl knows I've got my eye on this. And now I've shown it, you're going to have a load of people who are going to come and try and buy it before me. Anyway, let's see what else I've got. In fact, there's a really nice Christmas ficus, which I'm going to show you before I pay for what I've bought. So I've had an absolutely fantastic time at Savin Nursery. I always do. I always see trees that just blow my mind. You've seen that azalea. I really, really do want it. Probably have to throw in a few gold coins, I think. And then I've got this one. Look at this for a ficus. This is absolutely incredible. Do you know what makes this such a great bonsai? Well, it's the red baubles, of course, because it's Christmas. That's when you know you've got a good bonsai, when it can carry a bauble. That is magnificent. Absolutely love it. Look at all those roots. Aerial roots, incredible. Of course, it's in the right environment. It's got the greenhouse effect here. Beautiful temperature, more than 14 degrees, and I'm sure there's a bit of misting and spraying as well. Absolutely lovely. So I suppose I definitely now need to pay. Just wish I could get that azalea for a couple of quid. Don't think so. And of course, once you've got your bonsai, once you've got all those plants that you want, you've got to have some more Christmas cheer and Christmas spirit. I mean, look at these, absolutely incredible. There is so much variety and stuff to look at. If you're anywhere near here, and I'd say I've travelled an hour and a half, if you're anywhere within that distance, you have got to come to Savin Nursery. It's fantastic. They're going to have to make me pay. I thought I was going to get it for nothing. That's cheeky, isn't it? Let's be honest. There's my card. Thank you very much. We'll do that in a minute. I don't want people looking to see my PIN number, but this is it. This is the olive I'm getting. I'm absolutely over the moon with that. This Serissa, I absolutely hate Serissa, but I'm determined I'm going to prove to everyone that I can keep this alive, because actually, by the kitchen sink, great indoor bonsai, it does have lovely white flowers. So that's fantastic. And that azalea, well, if I can do a deal on it, that may come to the bonsai retreat in 2026. But it's going to cost me, I think. They're wonderful here. They're absolutely wonderful here. Do you want to come across and wave?
No.
Yes, just wave like that. I had a wonderful coffee here as well. Everyone's brilliant. Okay, well, as you can see, it was fantastic there. And I said right at the beginning that this had a big issue, and I very nearly didn't buy it. And in fact, the only reason I did buy it is because, well, do you know what? Savin Nurseries have been really good to me. Yes, I've spent a lot of money there, but they said, Zav, why don't you have that one? So I did. And I do mean it. Go down there. You will not be disappointed. And do you know what? Sometimes it's worth saying hour and a half. If I'm going to get some bargains and I know what I want, that's the place I need to go. Anyway, look at this. I fell in love with that. I think when you look up the line, the potential up here, yes, there's going to be some pruning required. I don't know if that's dead. In fact, it is dead because I just broke it down with my clumsy fingers. So there's just 2 branches there now. But you know what? We're going to get new shoots from there. So I suppose the question is, what am I going to do with it? It's now the, 11th. I think it's the 11th of December now. And we are moving firmly towards the winter time. Everything's dormant, shutting down. Do I gain anything at all if I do some cuts or anything now? Bearing in mind, it's still in its pot. It's still, got a load of work to do on the roots. In fact, more of that in a minute. But let's go back to this branch. And the one we're talking about is this one here. It is pretty well on a right angle. And I was really disappointed, to be honest. I really thought, what can I do? Because I can cut it back, try and grow new branches from there. But that's always going to be at a right angle. And though that could be less obvious, if I let whatever new shoots from here come out grow, which is initially what I'm going to try, I'm actually going to cut probably here and then see what comes out from new shoots and at what angle they come. But there is actually a second option, and it's also the reason why I'm probably not going to be cutting all this growth off now. Because if I actually remove that in its entirety and then took one of these branches, one of these whips, brought it round and actually did a thread graft and grow a whole new branch at a more appropriate angle, that may actually save it. Now granted, we're talking a lot of effort because that is a massive, massive chop, and recovery time and healing, bearing in mind there are no other branches coming from that junction. Well, it could take a while, and truthfully, it could look pretty terrible. So, I'm not 100% sure. It may be that taking some of it off, but either way, what I do know is when I get it out of this this pot next spring, if I do decide to repot next spring, probably with this project, I'm seriously thinking about it going to a growing bed so I can actually really develop the roots. Going back, do I need to cut any of this stuff off now? Anything gained? No. There isn't going to be any healing going on. In fact, if I do any cuts now, I'm actually maximising or increasing the chances of infections or stuff coming in through those cut sites. So nothing gained, why bother? Leave it alone, let it get through the winter. All of this stuff is going to be cut right back. Anyway, we're going to be starting from a tree that's no more than that sort of height. Now this olive is actually, although it's got a beautiful, beautiful structure, is going to be more challenging. And although I was ever so enthusiastic, in the back of my mind, I was remembering something that I said in one of my earlier olive videos, that it's great if you can get the wild olive with the little small leaves, but this one, the Europa, so to speak, or European olive, is actually probably the worst one for trying to create bonsai, certainly in the UK where we just don't get that sunlight. So it's going to be challenging, but I fell in love with that base, and I thought, let's go for another olive experiment and another olive project. And I'll say straight away, is there anything I'm going to do? No. Loads of leaves on there. Do you know what? It's an evergreen, but we're not going to get lots of light. It's going to stay somewhere that's relatively dry, mainly because the soil itself is the classic sort of peaty, sort of loamy mix. I don't want the roots to get waterlogged and soaked, because that can only lead to misery for this tree and ultimately for me. So I am going to try and watch just how wet it gets. I don't want it to be waterlogged. Frost -1, -2. Do you know what? If it's not extended, I've had these things outside, they've been fine. But again, I will probably put it in the cold frame if I can, just to avoid the really harsh frost, but more to avoid the wind and the rains combined. I think that could probably be causing the worst damage for this. And in terms of, no, I'm certainly not going to cut anything off now. I could definitely take the top off all that. But again, my issue is it's not doing anything wrong right now. If I create an issue where I can actually bring problems to the tree by doing pruning now, then why should I? So I'll wait until next year, and probably in the early spring I will cut that probably in half. So in fact, you know what? Why am I talking about olives now? The answer you want to know is, am I going to do anything with this right now? No, I'm going to do absolutely nothing. I'm just going to watch out. I don't want it to get wet. To find out what I do in 2026, well, do you know what you need to do? Have a look at that button somewhere down there between, well, we won't talk about where it's pointing. Push that, hit bell notifications. You're definitely going to see this, the maple, and indeed the Serissa in future videos. But the only way you'll know they've come out is if you hit bell notifications. Share all that lovely stuff. So I've had a fantastic time at Savin Nurseries. In fact, did I say the magic Serissa word? Let's go and have a visit at my indoor nursery, so to speak, i.e. the place where I've got the grow light. Well, hopefully you've got a good feel for why I want to go to Savin Nursery once a year, if not twice a year. Why I want that incredible azalea, which I am going to have to pay for, but I see it as an investment for the future, an investment for this bonsai garden that I'm developing, that I want everyone to visit if they can. You know, you just need to send me an email and I'm sure I can get you in. Not a problem at all. Anyway, you want to know exactly what I'm going to do with my challenge. Well, here it is. This is the Serissa, and yeah, it's nothing to write home about, but it's got all these lovely aerial roots. And the only thing I did when I got home is I basically soaked it in the washing up bowl with water for about 20 minutes until all of this packing soil got nice and wet and damp. And then I brought it indoors here in my indoor plant studio, where I've got the big indoor lamp, and it's going to sit here with the rest of my indoor trees, which are arrayed around me, including this absolute monster ficus, which is the one I'm determined is going to stay as clip and grow, as per Nigel Saunders. And yeah, I'll probably look at doing the repot for that in spring 2026. So really all that's going to happen to that, it'll get fed and it'll get to enjoy the light and have some water. Hey, I've had a great time over these 2 episodes. I hope you have too. And do you know what? I hope as we run in towards Christmas that all your trees are nicely tucked away, if that's appropriate. And if you're in the other continents, that right now you're really starting to stream through, doing your repots and thinking about the summer ahead. I'm cold, so I'm going to go into the house and watch a bit of telly. Apart from that, that's a good video to watch, trust me. And wish you all the best. Happy bonsai and God bless. Cheers.